Happy Monday, everyone. Hopefully, everyone had a great weekend. All right, so we're going to be talking about quite a bit of things in this episode. Firstly, some Middle Eastern updates. Going to be talking a little bit about oil. Then we got to be talking about some economical data because SoFi ended up actually having a nice little bounce on open, and then we just got smacked down on the 5 minute time frame. But doesn't matter if you're watching 5 minutes, doesn't matter if you're watching 1 minute. SoFi is definitely very much trending back down. And yesterday evening, SoFi actually broke $15. So I want to talk about some stuff that could very well affect SoFi today. We have Jerome Powell speaking in 16 minutes. It is 10:14 a.m. Jerome Powell is going to be talking at 10:30 a.m. So let's go ahead and begin with some Middle Eastern stuff. Straight off the bat, or actually, let me go ahead and say some updates. Firstly, if you're new here, welcome. I tend to make videos on this channel Monday through Saturday. So if you do subscribe, you're going to be getting a wide range of content. I am a raging SoFi bull, also semi-bull as well, AMD baby, and also I have grown into very much a hood bull. It's funny because in February 2014, when I started buying SoFi, I was actually looking at Robinhood as a potential buy, and I'm beyond happy that I bought into SoFi. But I'm also beyond happy that I am a very large shareholder now of Robinhood as well too. But yes, you will be getting a wide range of content on this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is also relatively new. My main YouTube channel, NightmareRH, is a gaming channel. 200K plus subscribers. I have not advertised this channel just yet. Maybe I'm going to do it next month, or actually maybe the month of May. But regardless, this channel is growing with stock-loving gurus. So each and every single one of you, please smash the like button. It does help this channel grow organically as well. Okay, so firstly, Middle Eastern news. Oil. It's near scary, scary levels. So when it comes to investing, when it comes to trading, there are things called psychological levels, and it freaks people out. Okay. I've been in the market now for well over 6 years. Gonna be 7 years, honestly, by the time that I know it. Being in the market, time moves extremely quick. That's the one thing I've learned. Because you're always waiting, especially for updates, whether companies that you are invested in or companies that you are trading. You're always waiting for the next catalyst. Whether the catalyst may be to the upside or to the downside, you're still waiting on just updates, and time moves very quickly. It really does. I've been posting a lot of videos on this channel since October of last year, so hell, almost like 6 months now. But I created this YouTube channel back in March of 2024. Then I ended up stopping creating videos on it. I had some health issues in the middle of 2024. I was actually eating way too much friggin' sugar and drinking too much alcohol. That has been rectified. Sugar is the devil, and been fully sober from alcohol for almost like 16 months now. Coffee cheers, always. But yeah, so it really feels like a blink of an eye. This market was 2025, 2024, 2023, 22, 21, and also 20. And the reason I'm saying this is because if you are fairly new to the market, if you are in the market under, I want to say, 3 years, there's different stages. In the first 1 to maybe 3 years of me being in the market, I looked at levels as very scary. There were stocks that I looked at and they had a big number. Like, for example, Adobe could be taken as a big number. AMD could be taken as a big number. And I looked at them and said, you want to know what? They're not attractive. I was dead wrong for saying that. Okay? Dead wrong for saying that. Just because a number is big doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. Okay? A lot of newbies, they look at that and they're like, well, I only have $250 to really put into the market. Maybe this paycheck. I'm only gonna buy one share of AMD when I could theoretically buy maybe oh boy 13 14 shares of SoFi. A lot of young investors and young traders, they think like this. So did I. Okay, psychological levels. But once again, if you've been following me on this channel, I clearly explained to you why it doesn't matter what the share price is. AMD is going to be explode. It's if you have a company trading at $200 a share like AMD, and if their growth rates are going to be significantly exploding over the next several years, and they're going to be eating away a lot of the top company in the world's market share, well, their stock price doesn't matter if it's 200, 300, 400, close to 600 meta. If the company goes up by 100%, the share price is going to also go up by 100% too, okay? Psychological levels are very big, and oil is at a tremendously high psychological level, $100, okay? Keep it simple. Every $10 is a psychological level, okay? It freaks out people, and when things get over that psychological level, whether it's for something good or something bad, it can start affecting things in that stock price. Okay, this is where technical analysis really does come into play. Now, obviously, technical analysis on oil, it's completely irrelevant. Okay, I just have my averages up on here because it's a typical chart. If I go to Adobe, obviously I keep my same moving averages on here. But oil is moving based on geopolitical events. Okay, the Federal Reserve could lower interest rates. It will not affect oil. The Federal Reserve can raise interest rates. It's not going to affect oil. Okay, oil is a geopolitical issue. The stuff happening in the Middle East is very separate from. Oil is very unique. Okay, it's very unique, just like the volatility index, the VIX, the VIX. Okay. So we're at $100 of oil broken, and we're holding this $100, which is very, very scary for a lot of people. It's a scary time for the market right now. I talked about this yesterday's video. That is bullish. Okay. You need to be, if you are a long-term investor, like I am in my long positions over here, I'm doing a public profile account challenge, a risk on profile for this YouTube channel. If I have enough time, then I'll definitely show it, but just about every video I pretty much go through it. However, if you're a long-term shareholder and there's fear in the market and your stocks are going down and you are invested in great companies, great management teams, you got to be a buyer. Okay, I've been a buyer of stocks for the last 6 months now. Like a heavy buyer. And if this fear continues, which is bullish, why is it bullish? Because if stocks are going down and nobody wants them, that's when you load the boat. Okay? Nobody wants to be in the stock market. You need to position yourself in the stock market. Think about it this way. If the stock market's gonna, if the headlines are gonna be saying, hey, the stock market is turning around, it's too late, okay? Liberation Day last year, the headlines changed when the SPY was already recovered. What did I do last year? I bought the entire dip down and bought the entire dip up. And the headlines turned bullish in May. But what happened for the ended up crash last year? Well, the crash was over. Okay, you look at the major indexes currently. Well, the major indexes are very much breaking down. But the point is that mainstream is not going to release headlines until the crash has or the correction that we're in. We're not in a full-blown crash just yet. And we may not be in a crash. We may recover. But the point being is that this is bullish in the sense of buying stocks because when the headlines emerge that the market is turning green, it's already too late. And people like me and many other people like me are going to already be loaded in stocks, and people are just going to be FOMOing on in. Prime example. Last year during the summertime, I started to sell stocks, all my trading positions that I bought during Liberation Day. I had on 2 different accounts Palantir. I was buying Palantir shares. I did it as a trade. 90, 80, high 70s, 2 different accounts. I started selling out of Palantir on my birthday, June 25th, last summer. I was on the golf course. And I was with a couple friends, not in the market, but they knew the market was exploding. And they're like, dude, why are you selling stock? I was buying during Liberation Day. That is how you make money, okay? When the stock market is not popular, you need to position yourself to be in the stock market. When the stock market is so whoopsies, woo, got to bitch slap myself. When the stock market is unpopular, you position yourself in the market. When the stock market is popular, you start looking whether you have trade positions. If you're a long-term investor on a stock, hey, my stock is overvalued. Maybe I may take some chips off the table, or I'm just not going to buy any shares. I didn't start buying SoFi again until it broke $25. I didn't buy SoFi in the low 30s or the high 20s. You got to know how to value your long-term investments. If a stock is trading too rich, may not be a good time to pick up discounted shares. However, stocks like SoFi that have been beaten down, well, I've been picking up discounted shares. Okay, so gonna try to keep this video under 17 minutes. Oh Lord, I don't know if I can actually do this. Two main things. Middle Eastern news. So Middle Eastern news. April 6th is pretty much the deadline that President Trump has given Iran to basically saying, hey, you're looking at unconditional surrender. You're looking at pretty much like, hey, you need to never do this, otherwise we're going to come after you again. It's basically pretty much a hard date. And something that this administration has been shown is that what they say is very face value. They mean it. They're not playing games. So Iran is very used to dealing with like administrations that just say, hey, if you do this, this is going to end up happening, and then it doesn't end up happening. So if they don't do something, so if they don't cave on before April 6th, things are going to escalate in the Middle East, which can be very bearish for oil, because oil is going to continue to go higher, which is going to ultimately be very bearish for the stock market, but bullish for my investing and trading strategy. Another thing too, right now for today, a lot of attacks happened over the weekend. It really does seem that other Middle Eastern countries are getting more involved. And I talked about this yesterday, how the Houthis are pretty much getting involved against Middle Eastern countries that are going after Iran, primarily Israel, even the UAE and Saudi Arabia. So things right now are very much not like de-escalating. Things are really ramping up. Not to mention a Marine Expeditionary Unit, a MU, pretty much arrived in the Middle East carrying 2,500 Marines. A little bit about myself. I do have a military background. I did 15 and a half years in the United States Marine Corps, an Afghan vet, joined 2007, medically retired November 15th, 2022. Very much out of oh man, trying not to keep this channel very away from politics, but hopefully stuff really does get wrapped up very much in the Middle East. But I can definitely tell you that a Marine Expeditionary Unit, a MU, they're designed for amphibious assaults. So therefore, if there is theoretically boots on the ground, well, the U.S. military has that capability. And that's very much freaking out a lot of people, saying, hey, we don't want this to turn into Iraq, Afghanistan. Neither do I. Personally, I'm really kind of sick of war, just in general. I really feel that our country, let alone the world, really just needs peace, which is not a bad thing. But if something does happen where it's not a bluff, it is actually like a notion, it could very well just overall hurt the market even more. Once again, I'm going to be a buyer. And it would probably honestly be like political suicide for the Republican Party, like this midterms. I honestly, in my personal opinion, I really think a lot of this is going to be over relatively quick, and I really hope it does resolve quick. If this drags on to the midterms, the Republican Party is going to be punished. They're going to be they're going to be getting their bums spanked. So you got to really ask yourself, like, is this going to be over quick or is this not? I really think it will be. Okay. Okay, that is 16 minutes talking about geopolitical stuff that's really happening. But definitely drop me a comment down below. What do you think is really going to end up happening? Do you think this is going to be over quick? Do you think this is going to carry on to midterms? Because if this does carry on to midterms, I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense of why you would have a Republican president and you are carrying on an escalating war into midterms when theoretically it's like, sure, Iran are a bunch of bad guys, but it's like they're like you are carrying something on. There's something else going on here. So definitely drop me a comment below your opinion too, but I personally think that this is going to be over really probably before like maybe June, maybe May, hopefully. But we'll see what happens April 6th, because it's going to be a catalyst to the upward, to the downside. Okay, so for SoFi, why did SoFi have a nice bounce and then sell off? It's because of pretty much this. Okay, we have Jerome Powell speaking, like I said. 10:31 right now on the clock. I guarantee you Jerome Powell just honestly started speaking. I'll cover about what he said tomorrow in tomorrow's video. Obviously, I'm not gonna waste time right now. But the last time Jerome Powell basically spoke, a little over a month ago, the market took it as negative. He was basically talking about pretty much inflation is definitely ramping up, and we're not going to be seeing any rate cuts. Don't expect rate cuts, and the market pretty much unpriced a lot of rate cuts in general. Now, as for like economical data, unemployment on April 3rd is going to be huge. The employment report, unemployment rate, very big. Do we have next week as well too? Monday, April 6th. I know Good Friday, I'm pretty sure the market's closed. Don't quote me on that. And then April 6th, Easter Monday, I believe the market is going to be open. Don't quote me on that too. Next week is going to be really big. Okay, because next week we're going to be getting all the inflation data of high oil prices now starting. This is going to affect SoFi. I have a massive SoFi position on both of my profiles, my private and also my public. Massive SoFi position. And I have a feeling that if it's going to be negative, which means PCE is going to be ticking up, and CPI especially, it's going to indicate that, hey, we're going to be talking, the market is going to be starting to price in friggin' rate hikes, which is going to be extremely bearish overall, especially for a stock like SoFi. It doesn't mean rate hikes are necessarily going to happen, but you're going to have the bears shouting and screaming. I am a overall bull when it comes to the market, but you're going to have the bears just screaming. Do I think high inflation is going to be coming back? I don't. If you want my opinion, I could be wrong. I believe temp inflation can definitely happen, but the market's going to take it as very much negative catalyst. So right now you have SoFi basically pretty much trending down. I've bought SoFi when it broke $16. I bought it actually 3 times in the $15 range. I was actually unable to pick up some shares under $15 last night. So I'm good for SoFi. If we break below $15, I'm going to buy more shares. And that's what I'm doing personally. But SoFi is very much affected by what is going on. I'll leave this video on a closing note talking about AMD. I really honestly want to talk a little more about AMD maybe in tomorrow's video. But AMD, despite all of this stuff, AMD is just holding the 200-day moving average. Theoretically, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can also count this as being number 4. Why is this? Because people know what is coming for AMD. AMD is going to have a massive growth cycle. And even with all the nonsense that's been going on, AMD is holding. Man, I am so happy that I bought heavy on AMD. I am so happy. Okay, I'm going to wrap up today's episode pretty much on this closing note. Remember why you got into your stocks. Don't let the noise shake you out. This is not the time to be hiding underneath the desk, to be on the golf course. I'm going to be on the golf course all throughout this summer because I have a feeling that this market is going to turn very much bullish. And I could be wrong. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But when the market is just going to all-time highs, I don't get excited. Okay, I have trained my brain to want the red. The red makes you money. Okay, stocks going up to all-time high. It's like, hey, the time to buy is a period like this where we had a SaaS apocalypse, middle of geopolitical nonsense, oil fears, like inflation fears coming back. Like there's so much drama in the market. This is the time, okay? This is the time. The time during the summer when stocks are going to all-time high, if they do, it's very different. Very different. So yeah, on a closing motivational note, I understand things are really scary, but you gotta remember why you got into your stocks. I remember mine, and see you all tomorrow. Take it easy, everyone. Be safe, stay healthy, and later.